Hey everyone, it's Amanda. Welcome back to my channel. Happy New Year. We are officially in 2020, and because it is the start of a brand new year, I thought I would do a little extra New Year's bullet journal ideas video. If you haven't seen, I did post my entire 2020 bullet journal setup. So if you're curious to see how I set up the beginning of my brand new bullet journal for the year, then definitely be sure to go check that out. But for this video in particular, we're gonna be focusing on New Year's specific spreads. So not so much the beginning of the year setup pages, but more so spreads that will help you guys get in the right mindset for the new year, goal setting, mental health, that sort of thing. I've done a couple of these in the past as well, and you guys seem to really like it. So I thought I would do it again for 2020. I'm very excited. I always love doing spreads like this, especially at the beginning of the year when it's really important to sort of reflect on what has happened and look forward to the future. So I hope these help you guys out a little bit, but before we get started, I'd like to give a quick thank you to today's sponsor, Skillshare. I teach a class there. They are so awesome, especially for the new year, so I'll talk a little bit more about them later in the video. But without further ado, let's get on into the New Year's bullet journal ideas. The first spread that I'm making is a 2019 reflections page, and as the name suggests, this is where I'm going to be looking back and reflecting on what has happened during the past year. I think it's really important to sit down and really acknowledge what you've done and what you've accomplished over the year, even if you think that you didn't do that much. Sometimes when you sit down and actually write it all out, you realize, oh yeah, I did do a lot, and you gotta give yourself credit where it's due. I think it's also important to note that I'm not just writing down the highlights and the highs and the peaks of the year. I'm also looking back at some of the low points of the year, and that just allows me to think about what I can do in the future to avoid this, or how I've become stronger after all of the adversity during the year. So yeah, I have various prompts. You can see I've drawn a bunch of sprouted out arrows from the center, and then I've used my letter stamps, which I've been obsessed with. I love these stamps. I love the look of the stamps and the vibe that it gives off. But I have made various prompts, some of which that say like personal accomplishments, career accomplishments, mistakes I made, something I learned, highlights, things I was grateful for, something that I needed more of. And you can change these out depending on what you prefer, but I think that these are very applicable to my life. And on the next page, I actually sort of created a similar spread, but this spread is looking forward to 2020. So I changed the prompts and made them more future oriented. So instead of career accomplishments, I put career goals. I feel like this spread is a bit different from the goals page that I did in my 2020 bullet journal setup. If you watched that video, then you'll know that I had a whole goals page and a goal planner, which I feel like the goal planner was a lot more utilitarian and functional, if you want to call it that, because it was a spread that helped me plan out how I was going to achieve each specific tangible goal. Whereas this spread is a bit more reflective. I have things like personal goals, things I want to let go of during the year, the type of person I want to be, things I want to learn, which I always like to set a learning goal for the new year. If you're like me and you like learning something new, oh, by the way, this is the spread all filled out and everything. But as I was saying, if you're like me and you like to learn something new for the new year, then I highly recommend Skillshare, who is the awesome sponsor of today's video. You guys know I love Skillshare. I teach a class there all about creative journaling and calligraphy, so you can go check that out. But even if you don't want to take my class, there are so many other classes. There's classes about design, illustration, lettering, business, technology, basically anything you can think of. There's probably a Skillshare class all about it because they have thousands and thousands of classes. Premium membership gives you unlimited access to all of the high quality classes, so you can improve your skills or try something new for 2020. And it's actually one of the more affordable learning platforms with an annual subscription starting as low as $10 a month. So if you're interested and you want to check out and try out Skillshare for yourself for the new year, be sure to click the link in the description box below for a free 2-month trial. Thank you again to Skillshare, and back to the New Year's bullet journal spreads. Alright, so my next spread is my 2020 vision board spread. Now this spread was actually inspired by a couple things. I've done a vision board before in my bullet journal, but I also have done some new things this year, like art journaling and K-pop journaling, so I wanted to kind of combine all of it together and create this scrapbook vision board. Honestly, it was just a way for me to play with all of the fun stationery that I collect. So as you can see, I'm ripping up some black paper, some vintage ephemera that I've found on Amazon. I have this wide washi tape with this really beautiful text all over it. I have my regular washi tape, which you guys know I love. And I'm just sort of creating a vision board. I don't know what else to describe it, but I printed out a bunch of pictures and I'm writing out quotes that are really important to me and I'm doodling all over it. It was honestly just really fun for me to make. I know a lot of people actually swear by vision board making. I think there is something to sort of manifesting and putting something on paper and seeing it every day. Not that, vision boards are magical, but it is really nice to put on paper something that you've been dreaming of, even if it's super out there. And one of my favorite parts about this spread was this little envelope that I put in the corner. I have this craft paper envelope that I found from Amazon, and as you can see, I'm using my stamps, my letter stamps that I love so much, and I wrote out quotes. So inside the envelope, I'm gonna put quotes that motivate me or inspire me, so whenever I am feeling unmotivated, I can open up my little quote pocket and take out something and feel energized again. I just thought it was a really cute idea. And above I'm also writing a quote. This quote says, "It's your road, others may walk with you, but no one can walk it for you," which I thought was a very nice quote and really applied to my life. I have some words of the year that I really want to emulate for 2020, like persevere, heal, try your best. Oh, and as you can see, this is where I printed out a bunch of pictures. I found these all on Pinterest, but for the travel specific section of this bullet journal spread, I printed out pictures of places that I wanted to travel to. For the music section, I printed out pictures of bands that I want to go to their concert. I also just printed out cute pictures of dogs because I like dogs and I really want one, but I probably won't be able to get one this year. So, things like that. Even just paintings and art that inspired me, I put on this vision board. And oh my god, guys, I really highly recommend trying this out. I really loved making it and it was so fun. I loved the way it turned out, and I'm probably gonna make more of these in the future. It does really remind me of my K-pop journal video, if you haven't seen that, because it's a similar style. And coincidentally, there are a couple K-pop things on this spread, but I don't think that was the point of this spread. It just so happened that way. Anyway, finishing off with some doodles and different decorations and things like that, and this is my 2020 vision board. Oh wait, actually here, I forgot, you're gonna see me write out the quotes that I'm putting inside the little quote pocket. So I forgot the specific quotes that I put, but I'll probably end up adding more throughout the year. You can choose quotes that really inspire you. This one in particular says, "Don't let the behavior of others destroy your inner peace." This one says, "What you think, you become, what you feel, you attract, and what you imagine, you create." And I ended up putting a couple more in there that were very personal to me, so obviously I didn't share all of them, but I think it's going to be nice to fill up this quote pocket throughout 2020. Okay, so the next spread that I'm making is a 21 things to do before 2021. Last year I had a 100 things to do bucket list, and needless to say, I did not complete all 100, so I thought I would, reduce the number a little bit. So I went from 100 to 21, and I think that's a lot more doable, and also it takes up less space. So this was only a half-page spread, or not a half page, a half spread, like only on one page, one side of the spread. And it's pretty simple. I just have numbers going from 1 to 20 all the way down, and I will check it off like a bucket list almost for the year. I haven't thought of what 21 things that I want to do. Since it is 21 and not 100, I do have to be a bit more selective. But even if it's small things on your yearly bucket list, I think that's part of the fun. Like maybe you just want to eat a cookie before 2021. That's totally okay. And I'm good with that. So finally, this page is called My Self-Care Reminders. Now, self-care is something, I'm not gonna lie, I really lacked in 2020, and I know it's really bad because I am the first one to preach all about it, but I realized that I am not the best at actually practicing it. I think it's really important to practice self-care in a lot of different ways. I actually found this graphic on Pinterest, and it had different self-care reminder categories, which I didn't even realize that self-care could be split up into so many different categories. Like, as you can see, there's physical, emotional, social, spiritual, personal, space, financial, and work. So I will link that graphic down below, and obviously self-care looks different for different people, so what works for me might not work for you. But I do think having a spread like this where you can refer back to whenever you're feeling stressed or overwhelmed, and you can see like, oh, I need to do this. It's really important. Even sometimes things as simple as getting enough sleep or drinking enough water or exercising obviously are all forms of self-care, but it's so easy to overlook it. So I just thought this reminder page was nice to have. And again, highly recommend you figure out what self-care is, important to you. For 2020, we are taking care of ourselves and our minds. Okay, so here's the final flip through of the few little goal planning, vision boarding, New Year's spreads that I made in addition to my 2020 bullet journal setup pages. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Alright guys, so that was it for my New Year's bullet journal spread ideas video. I hope it helped you out a little, maybe gave you some inspo for your own bullet journal. As I mentioned, if you do want more bullet journal inspiration, I'm going to leave my 2020 setup down below, as well as my January plan with me, and my entire bullet journal video playlist down below. You can binge it. I have 3 years worth of stuff on there, so you should be able to find something that will help you out there. And you can also follow me over on my Instagram for even more fun and inspiration. It's a good time there. I think that's pretty much it for today, so I'm gonna sign off. I hope you have an awesome day, keep doodling, and I will talk to you in the next one. Bye everyone.